Imagine walking down an isolated dirt road in 18th century India. The jungle is thick, the nearest settlement is days away, and you are exhausted. Out of the darkness, a fellow traveler approaches with a warm smile and an offer to share the journey. For days or even weeks, this new companion breaks bread with you. You discuss religion around the campfire, they listen to your stories and share their own. They engineer a profound sense of safety, meticulously disarming every instinct you have to protect yourself. The shared meals and quiet conversations were the prelude to a flawlessly coordinated attack. This ritual played out across the highways of India for centuries, resulting in the total erasure of entire families and merchant caravans without a single witness left to sound the alarm. The deadliest serial killers in human history operated for generations without leaving a bullet casing, a bloody blade, or any sign of a struggle. Authorities were left chasing phantoms, unable to find even a single gunshot wound or sword strike to explain the disappearances. They achieved this invisibility because they never relied on steel or gunpowder to conquer the highways. Instead, they weaponized human empathy itself. Looking at this historical map of Hindustan, you can see the massive, unpoliced expanses of territory between settlements. Syndicates of killers embedded themselves across this vast geography, hiding entirely in plain sight. They operated on a strict procedural timeline. The assassins would travel with a target party, tracking their movement and meticulously calculating the route to wait for the exact moment their victims were furthest from civilization. When the dead of night fell and the travelers were asleep or distracted, the syndicate leader would issue the strike command. It was a single, chillingly quiet code word, Journey. At that signal, the killers deployed their specialized tool. They used a length of yellow silk, called a Rumal, precisely weighted at one end with a heavy, hidden coin. As you can see in this 19th century illustration, the positioning of their hands was exact. They looped the weighted silk around the traveler's neck and crossed their wrists, using a brutal torque to crush the windpipe instantly, shutting down any possibility of a scream. The cleanup was incredibly fast. They systematically stripped the bodies of valuables and dropped the remains into deep, unmarked wells scattered along the trade routes, erasing every physical trace of the encounter. These bloodless strangulations functioned as sacred offerings to the goddess Kali. The ritual was designed to satisfy her thirst for sacrifice, while adhering to a strict religious prohibition against spilling blood upon the earth. By transforming murder into a strictly regulated, step-by-step religious procedure, the cult maintained an industrial level of efficiency. Over centuries of operation, this systematic approach claimed an estimated 2 million lives. By the 1830s, the sheer volume of missing travelers threw the British East India Company into an absolute panic. Enter Captain William Sleeman, a colonial administrator tasked with hunting down an enemy he couldn't even see. Sleeman quickly realized that sending out cavalry regiments was useless. Traditional military force means absolutely nothing against a completely decentralized network of killers who look exactly like ordinary, everyday citizens. He built a different weapon, the Thuggee and Dacoity Department. This highly sophisticated counterintelligence network collected data, mapping the connections between hidden cells. Sleeman gave captured members a desperate choice: face the gallows or receive absolute immunity in exchange for their brothers' names. This strategy triggered a devastating cascade of betrayals. Information poured in from the spies, leading to targeted arrests, to swift trials, and the eventual hanging of thousands of cult members across the country. To break an enemy that relied entirely on secrecy and deceit, the British had to engineer a perfectly ruthless, systematic network of espionage. Sleeman's campaign succeeded in physically dismantling the cult. The roads opened up, and the bustling streets and trade routes of India were finally made safe for the massive flow of commercial traffic. But the killers survived in our vocabulary. The British forces referred to them by a Hindi word meaning deceiver, a label that entered the English language and was culturally sanitized into the modern word thug. The true physical weight of their crimes, however, remains buried. Somewhere beneath the modern infrastructure of India, the skeletons of 2 million travelers, along with centuries of looted wealth, are still resting at the bottom of undiscovered wells. It leaves us with an open historical debate. Were the Thuggee truly devoted religious zealots, or were they just history's most successful organized crime syndicate, hiding behind the veil of faith? Let me know what you think down in the comments. The terrifying legacy of the Thuggee proves that the most dangerous monster in the world isn't a mythical beast lurking in the dark. It is the polite, smiling stranger offering to walk with you.